Bonjour, y'all. NolaButterfly here, and this is a 3-day composite radar capture of the continental U.S. radar, and we're going to do a little analysis of what the collective of radars were doing versus an individual radar that managed to create the storm system that devastated our community in Texas, and how those radars drove the water vapor, gathered them up, and moved things around. So hopefully you've seen some of my work before, so you know the basis of it. But if you don't, I'll give you a little brief explanation here. It's kind of hard. I don't have a cursor because I'm doing this on my phone, so I apologize. The blue spots that you'll see on here, and that you do see on here, I'm going to hit play in a second, are Doppler radars. They are microwave facility towers. They pulse microwave, they emit microwave energy. When the blue is full on expanded, when these bloom, okay, when the blue blooms, that is them pushing out the energy. And so clouds can't go through that energy. If they do, they break up, or they dissipate, or they go above it, or they go around it. And this is exactly what you'll see when these microwave facility towers, also known as radar, Doppler radar, NEXRAD, that the meteorologists use to read the weather, this is what's driving our weather today, okay? All of our weather is hacked, our hydrological cycle is hijacked. So these are going to pulse, and you'll see the half of the country will pulse. The eastern half of the country will pulse. And the clouds coming from the west going east, when they come up against the wall that these pulses make, okay, they go up and around it, okay, because they cannot go through it. So let's show what this is. So they're creating a high pressure on the east coast, and the clouds on the midwestern side go north and then south again around those pulses, because they can't go through it. They can't just continue across the U.S. because there's a force that stops it or dissipates it or breaks it up. So all that water vapor mass, and now there's a lot of different ways that they can create water vapor. I mean, these are just the radars. This is just the technology to the weather weapon system that we can see. There are many others we cannot see. And this is why I focus on the ones that we can see, because that is where the liability is. This is where the rubber meets the road. You know, so you have a big car and only one part of the car touches the road, and that's the tires here. This is the liability point. This is where the rubber meets the road, okay? Because you can't prove what they're doing with satellites. You can't prove what what all cloud seeding they're doing or not doing. Sure, it's recorded somewhere, but we don't have access to it. And guys, there's more than either geoengineering or cloud seeding, okay? I'll get into that in another video. There's also, hey honey, beautiful. I'm making a little video. I'll be inside in 1 second. Okay. I'm recording. Thank you, honey. So, it's my little pudding pie. The only thing I can really, I mean, they've got these installations out at sea. They've got, and I was saying that there's a difference between cloud seeding and geoengineering. That right now, that guy from the Palantir company, Rainmaker, is trying to make it think that there's cloud seeding is separate from geoengineering. This is a linguistic game, and I go into greater detail in my Clear Skies conference presentation, which is on Rumble, and you can see it. It's pinned to the top, rumble.com/user/NolaButterfly. Now, the thing we can see is these radars. We do have public access to that, and we absolutely need to hold them accountable to what we're seeing. I have years of radar capture, all right, capturing hurricanes going into the Doppler radar by the eye at landfall. And I've triangulated further. So one of the things I triangulated on was the blooms, how it makes a high pressure and pushes things around. After I started talking about it, Dane Wigington started talking about it. He says that the radars push away. That's one thing they do. They also draw in. When they pulse down small, now they create a vacuum that draws the clouds into the space. As you can see here, when the blooms deflate, then the clouds can, let me go back a little. As it deflates, you've got clouds that are able to move into the area that has been deflated, but not until they deflate. So they build this wall of radars, this energetic wall, and that creates a wall on the eastern half, creates a low pressure that allows all that water vapor to amass. Now, how they got that water vapor, they can release it from power plants. They can seeding, seeding only, takes rain that's in the air. Yeah, but they've, along with microwave technology, they can steer water to an area, and then you have it seeded, and then boom, voila, you've got your 1-2 punch, and you don't stand a chance if they don't want you to. So Palantir was cloud seeding. I think Palantir, Rainmaker, I call them, they're the same thing pretty much. Rainmaker was cloud seeding a couple days before the flood. I think they're scapegoat. I think there's a lot of other things they don't want you to look at. The fact that this guy's been going around to every meeting, every legislative hearing on all these bills being passed across the country, and speaking about the difference between cloud seeding and geoengineering. He's a plant. I don't even know if he knows he's a plant. I don't even think he knows what he's being used for. Good looking guy, I gotta say. You know, they give you a handsome guy to talk fancy and act like he knows what he's talking about, and so that, you know, they can recapture the minds of the other people who didn't even know about cloud seeding. Now they want him to know about cloud seeding, but they want him to think that it's benign. All right, there's so much more to cloud seeding. You have to understand it's a weather weapon system. And so not only, I actually, on my channel, I captured the radar in Texas the day after, because radar is easier to capture in live. It's harder to, unless somebody captured it and you've got archive footage somewhere, you have to order the product from these weather companies, and then you have to reanimate the slides, and it's just a pain, right? So I like this website, pauljhurtado.com. He's got a birding website, and in there he's got radar that's archived going back years, and I'm able to like access the continental U.S. radars. Sorry, my tongue is not awake yet, and we can see what the pattern of heating was for whatever day we're looking at. But when I zoned in on the actual radar in Texas that was in the area of concern, the area that they massacred children in, it was doing a rotational vortex. That means the clouds were spinning around the radar, going up and then back around it.
The new forgiveness program is wiping out $20,000 of debt for all Americans.
Counterclockwise. And you can see that video. I'm not going to do an edit here because I don't have time for all that, but it's on my channel. And then that was July 5th because I was a day late on that. It was still doing it. There was still rain and there was still the radar doing its thing. And then if you could see here on the East Coast, we had Hurricane Chantal making landfall, and it made landfall right into radar. And yes, I captured that as well. So this is your 3 days leading up to the massacre in Texas. And this is how the system works together. Why are there not any blooms on the western half of the United States? Why is it the intensity all on the East Coast? Because they had to allow a place for the moisture to come in, and then they had to build their wall area on the eastern half of the continental U.S. And so it's really tricky because we have so much territory to cover. I love the hurricane season just for the fact that I can capture and triangulate liability on the radars when these storms go into the radar by the eye. Nothing else is more damning. Though I have other ways of triangulating on it. There are wind waves that when these things pulse, there's wind that comes in from the north and the south and the east all at once converging over the radar because it shrunk and it created a vacuum that brought in the weather around it. So this is stuff we can take to court. This is stuff we must take to court. But until the work that I have done capturing the hurricanes going into the radar goes viral and enough people get it and want to get angry and upset and take it to the courts. Thank you, baby. I love you. Can I get a kiss?
It was hiding under it.
Okay, give me a kiss.
I was wondering, what is that?
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to tell him one more thing, and then we're going to go.
Can I go watch?
No, we're not doing that. We're going to get ready here in a minute. Let me just finish talking, and I'll be right in. I know I took a minute longer. Anyways, I got to go. I got important things to do. But this is important, too, because it's her future that I'm concerned about, and your kids' future, and our grandkids. But it's not even our grandkids' problem. It's our problem and our kids' problems right now. Hopefully, by the time we have grandkids, those of us who don't, will have addressed this issue and taken them to task. There is a liability in triangulating weather over the radar, and that's why Dane Wigington only wants to tell you it pushes away. There's not as much liability in pushing something away as there is in drawing it in. And there's beams in these radars that feed It's not the beams that we're seeing here. These are not the beams that I'm seeing. I haven't cracked the code on what those beams mean. There's more of a negative space beam that that I catch during the hurricane that steers the storm directly into it. They point, and the literature, the Doppler literature says, do not point beams in one direction for too long or it'll have environmental effects. And that's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing a whole bunch of that and a lot more. But let's triangulate, guys. Let's learn how they're using these. Pay attention during hurricane season and take these buggers to court. All right. God bless.